Before you judge what I am about to share, know this. There was a day I truly believed I would die without anyone hearing my story. What happened to me changed everything, and even now, my hands shake when I remember how close the end felt. Stay with me, because this is not just my story. It could be someone else's tomorrow. As you read or watch this, please comment where you are watching from. Let us know your country or city so we can connect as one family and continue to pray for one another across borders and nations. My name is Yusuf Karim. I was 32 years old when my life began to crack open in ways I never expected. This part of my story begins on March 14, 2018, but the roots go much deeper. I was born into a Muslim family in a small, crowded neighborhood where faith was not just belief, it was identity, culture, and survival. From as early as I could remember, my life followed a strict pattern. I woke before sunrise, I washed my face and hands, I bowed. I followed rules I did not fully understand, but I obeyed because obedience meant safety. In my home, questions were dangerous. Silence was wisdom. Fear was discipline. My father was respected in our community. People greeted him with lowered eyes. My mother rarely spoke unless spoken to. As a child, I learned quickly that love came with conditions. If I obeyed, I belonged. If I failed, I suffered. Religion shaped my days, but it also shaped my fears. I was taught that doubt was evil. Curiosity was rebellion, and leaving the faith was worse than death. Stories of people who tried were whispered, never spoken aloud. Some were beaten, some disappeared. Others were never mentioned again, as if erasing their names could erase their choices. As I grew older, the pressure increased. I fasted harder. I prayed longer. I tried to silence the strange emptiness inside me. No matter how much I did, peace never stayed. It came and left like a visitor who never unpacked. Outside our home, the world felt just as tight. Neighbors watched each other closely. Every move mattered. Every word could be reported. I learned to smile even when I was tired. I learned to pretend even when my heart felt heavy. At 18, I was forced into choices I was not ready for. I was told who I should be, how I should think, and what my future would look like. There was no space for dreams, only duty. I remember one night clearly. I was alone on the roof, staring at the sky. The stars felt far away, yet calmer than my own thoughts. I wondered why a loving God would make faith feel like a prison. That thought alone filled me with fear. I begged my mind to stop, but it did not. The persecution did not start with fists. It started with control. My phone was checked. My movements were questioned. My friendships were monitored. If I stayed out too long, I was accused. If I spoke too softly, I was suspected. Once, I was beaten not for something I did, but for something they thought I might do. Pain became normal. Bruises were hidden. Shame was swallowed. I saw others suffer worse. A young man in our area was accused of reading forbidden material. He was dragged into the street. People watched. No one helped. His cries echoed in my head for weeks. That was when I truly understood that belief was enforced by fear, not love. Inside me, something began to break. I tried to be more faithful to stop the pain. Instead, the pain grew. The more I tried to fit the mold, the more I lost myself. I felt like I was drowning while pretending to swim. There were nights I cried silently, afraid even my tears would betray me. By my late 20s, the pressure became unbearable. Marriage expectations, community responsibilities, constant judgment. I felt trapped in a life chosen for me, not by me. The persecution was not always loud. Sometimes it was cold silence. Sometimes it was threats spoken calmly. Sometimes it was the look in someone's eyes that said I no longer belonged if I ever stepped out of line. And still, I stayed. Because leaving felt impossible. I did not know then that my body was already preparing to fail. I did not know that the fear, stress, and hidden pain were slowly destroying me from the inside. I only knew I was tired of pretending, tired of fear, tired of a faith that felt like chains. This was the man I was before the day I almost died. Before the moment when everything I believed was shaken, before the encounter that saved my life. There are moments when life becomes so quiet that you can hear your own heart begging not to stop. This was one of those moments. I did not know if I would live to see another sunrise, and I did not know that this darkness was the doorway to something greater. Please stay with me. What happened next still feels unreal. By April 2nd, 2018, my body had become a mirror of my pain. I was weak. I was thin. I was tired in a way sleep could not fix. The persecution had grown heavier. It was no longer hidden. People watched me closely because they sensed something had changed inside me. I was quieter. I avoided gatherings. I no longer showed the same fire they expected from me. That alone made me a target. One evening, my uncle confronted me. He told me I was becoming strange. He revealed that people were talking. He showed me fear without kindness. After that day, my movements became limited. I was followed. I was questioned. I was treated like a problem that needed to be fixed. At home, food was sometimes taken from me as punishment. Silence became a weapon. I was ignored for days, then suddenly accused of disrespect. When I tried to explain my pain, no one listened. They said pain was a test. They said endurance was proof of faith. My body could not endure anymore. One night, I collapsed in my room. My chest burned, my head felt heavy, my breath came in short waves. I remember the floor feeling cold against my cheek. I tried to call for help, but my voice failed me. When they finally found me, there was no rush of care. Someone told me I was weak because my faith was weak. Someone else said this suffering would correct me. I was taken to a small clinic, not out of love, but out of fear of shame. The doctor examined me and showed concern on his face. He explained through actions and gestures that my condition was serious. My blood pressure was dangerously low, my heart was under stress, my body was shutting down. I was placed on a narrow bed. The light above me was too bright, the room smelled of medicine and fear. My hands shook, my ears rang. I felt myself slipping, like falling into deep water without knowing how to swim. In those hours, no family member held my hand. No one comforted me. I was alone, surrounded by people, yet completely alone. As my eyes grew heavy, memories flooded my mind. The beatings, the threats, the control. The nights I cried quietly so no one would hear. The fear of being discovered. The fear of being rejected. The fear of dying without ever knowing peace. I felt regret, not for questioning, but for living in fear for so long. My breathing slowed. My chest tightened. Darkness crept in from the edges of my sight. I truly believed this was the end. My heart felt like it was giving up. At that moment, I did not pray the way I was taught. I did not follow any rule. I simply surrendered. I admitted I was tired. I admitted I was broken. I admitted I needed help beyond myself. Then something changed. The fear that had crushed me for years loosened its grip. The room faded. The pain softened. I felt myself being carried, not by hands, but by a presence I could not see. I did not know it then, but I was standing at the edge between life and death. And that was where everything began to change. What happened next is the hardest part of my story to explain, because it took place where time felt broken and fear could no longer follow me. I was not dreaming, yet I was no longer fully awake. Please stay with me. This is where my life was pulled back from the edge. As my body lay still on the narrow bed, my awareness felt separate from pain. The heavy weight I had carried for years lifted. The room, the noise, the fear slowly faded, like a picture losing its color. I became aware of a calm presence near me. It was not loud, it was not forceful, it did not frighten me. Instead, it brought a deep peace I had never known before. This peace did not judge me, it did not accuse me, it did not demand anything from me. The presence revealed safety. I felt seen in a way I had never felt before. Every wound inside me, every beating, every insult, every night of silent crying was fully known. I did not need to explain myself. I did not need to defend my pain. The presence showed me my life clearly. I became aware of moments I had forgotten. I saw myself as a boy, afraid to ask questions. I saw myself as a young man being punished for silence. I saw my body shaking after beatings. I saw my heart breaking when I realized love was always conditional. The presence revealed compassion toward me. I sensed understanding, not anger. I sensed mercy, not rejection. I sensed love that did not depend on rules or fear. This love did not feel like control. It felt like freedom. Then I became aware of who the presence was. I did not hear spoken words, but understanding was placed inside me. I realized this was Jesus. Not as a picture or symbol, but as a living reality. He revealed himself to me without confusion. He showed me that he knew my suffering long before this moment. He revealed that my pain was never invisible. I felt him draw close, not physically, but deeply. He showed me that life did not have to be lived in fear. He revealed that God's love was not meant to crush, but to heal. He showed me that truth does not beat people into submission, it lifts them up. I became aware that my life was being returned to me. Strength slowly flowed back into me, not suddenly, but gently. The darkness that had surrounded me began to pull away. Fear no longer held power over me. Even death felt distant, like a door that had closed quietly. I sensed that a choice was being placed before me, not forced, not threatened, simply revealed. I understood that following this truth would cost me everything I knew. I understood persecution would not end, it would increase. I understood rejection, hatred, and loss would come. Yet, for the first time, I was not afraid, because I had tasted peace. As the presence withdrew, the calm remained. The love remained. The certainty remained. I felt myself returning to my body, to the bed, to the light above me. My eyes opened. I was alive. The doctor later showed confusion. He revealed that my condition had suddenly stabilized. He showed signs of improvement that did not match my earlier state. People whispered, some were uneasy, some looked afraid, but inside me, something had changed forever. I had been saved at the point of death, and I knew my life would never be the same. I survived the moment that should have ended my life, but what came after was harder than dying. The pain did not stop in the hospital. It followed me home, into the streets, into the eyes of people who once called me family. Please stay with me. This is where the real cost began. When I left the clinic, my body was weak, but my heart was awake. I walked slowly through familiar streets that suddenly felt unsafe. Every face looked different. Every sound felt louder. I knew something inside me had changed, even though I had not spoken a word. I tried to return to normal life, but normal no longer existed. The peace I had felt stayed with me. I could not erase it. I could not deny it. Jesus had revealed himself to me in a way fear could not destroy. He had shown me love without force. He had shown me truth without violence. But peace inside me created anger around me. People noticed the change. I no longer prayed with fear. I no longer spoke with hatred. I no longer pretended. That alone was enough to cause suspicion. Whispers began. Eyes followed me. Friends avoided me. One evening, a family member confronted me. He told me I had brought shame. He revealed that I was being watched. He showed me anger mixed with disappointment. Soon after, I was locked inside the house for days. My phone was taken. Food was limited. Silence was used as punishment. This was persecution. When they realized control no longer worked, the violence began. I was slapped. I was pushed. I was beaten for refusing to deny what had changed inside me. They told me suffering would break me. They believed pain would bring me back. Instead, it made my faith stronger. I was called names. I was treated like a traitor. Neighbors refused to greet me. Some spat near my feet. Others threatened to report me. I slept with fear every night, unsure if I would wake up alive. I lost my home. I was forced to leave quietly with only a small bag and a wounded body. I slept in hidden places. Sometimes I went hungry. Sometimes I cried until my chest hurt. Loneliness became my shadow. There were moments I wanted to give up, but I remembered the peace. I remembered the mercy. I remembered that I was seen. Jesus had shown me that suffering was not proof of failure. He had revealed that persecution often follows truth. He had shown me that love sometimes costs everything. I found small help from unexpected people, a kind hand, a safe place for one night, a meal shared in silence. These moments reminded me I was not alone, even when the world rejected me. I had abandoned Islam, but I had not abandoned God. I had found him in a way I never knew before. Today I still carry scars. Some are on my body, many are in my heart, but I also carry hope. My life is no longer ruled by fear. Even if persecution continues, my faith stands. This is my story, and it is still being written, a call to prayer and hope. To Christians across the world, I encourage you to pray for those who are persecuted for their faith. Pray for those who are beaten, rejected, hunted, and forgotten. Pray for those who are afraid to choose truth because the cost feels too high. And to anyone reading this who desires a new beginning, you can speak a simple prayer from your heart. Acknowledge your need for forgiveness. Believe that Jesus brings life and mercy. Ask him to lead you away from sin and fear. Choose to follow him with trust and humility. God sees you, God knows your pain, and God's love is still reaching for you.